On today's episode, we got ourselves a F250, and this brake pedal is absolutely hard as a rock. This thing barely goes down, and we have no brakes at all. Alright, so I pulled this vacuum line off right from the brake booster, and I'm not getting any vacuum at all coming from this hose with the truck running, and that should be sucking in. That either means we have a break in our line coming from here down to here, or our vacuum pump is bad. So I already did go ahead and I disconnected this one as well, and I checked to see if I had vacuum from here. So that eliminates this part of the hose. So now I have to go down from here to the vacuum pump and see if the hose does look cracked or anything. But I'm just going to assume it's a vacuum pump just because that is a common failure point with these 6.7s. So I'm going to start tearing into this. Okay, so I do have it apart a little bit. I'll explain what I did just so you guys know what to do. I didn't get very far. The stuff I took off isn't that hard. So first thing I did was get this airbox piece out of the way, just an 8mm here, 8mm here, and I believe it just came up free. You just got to move these coolant lines out of the way, and I did remove this coolant line going to the coolant jug right there, and then I just pushed it up out of the way just like that. And then the next thing I did was get the fan out. I just have it sitting down in there right now, and I did that with this 1 7/8" with my air hammer. You just put it on and spin it this way. I forgot to mention that you do pull this vacuum line off as well. This comes off very easy. You just pinch these two tabs, pull straight up, and it comes right off. The next thing I did was get the belt tensioner to get the belt off. I'm just moving it out of the way. I'm not going to take it all completely off. But you just do that with the 3/8 ratchet, pull your ratchet up, and then you can get the belt loose. And next, we are going to be taking this bracket off, and it is just a bunch of 13s. And it looks like there is going to be 4 of them. I'll keep you guys updated. I do got the bracket pulled off, and it is 5 bolts. I did not see this one down here. It's not too difficult to get. I just had to get a 3/8 extension with the 13, and you should be able to get it pretty easy. And then it just lifts right out of there. And now down here, we do have our vacuum pump, which is this piece right here. I'm going to start by removing this hose and just inspecting and making sure there's no cracks. I'm pretty sure there's not, but just make sure you have no cracks in this. So I'm going to pull this off first, and it looks like it's going to be followed by about 4 or 8mm, I would guess, but we'll get there whenever we get there. I did get the hose off, and it's just a hose clamp, and then this one just pops off. It's pretty simple. And now we have the 8mm going around the vacuum pump. Now the vacuum pump is off. All right, so we got a new vacuum pump right here. And I found out that this one spins really easy, and this one is a bit harder to move. So I'm just gonna assume that something inside of here does go bad, but we're just gonna slap this on. So you pretty much just line up this gear with this, so you can see where it does go. Make sure your surface is clean. You're just gonna put that back on. Okay, so after you got your vacuum pump on, tightened to 89 inch-pounds all around, then we are ready to put our hose back. Just gonna slide on, plug the vacuum line, onto the hose, And now we are ready for this bracket. Okay, so sadly my camera died and I had no idea that it did die, but I was just putting everything back together. So basically, after we got that bracket on, we went ahead and put our serpentine belts back on, which was kind of a pain just by myself, I'm not gonna lie. Kind of had to hold a lot of things and do a lot of stuff, but I eventually did get it back on there. After you get the serpentine belt on, you can put your fin clutch back on. I just got that with the air chisel again. Or not the air chisel, the air hammer. And that was pretty easy. I didn't really have troubles with anything else after that. Make sure you have your bracket back in there for the fan harness. This one right here. Let me see if I can get a flash on that. What I'm talking about is that wire right there. Make sure you have that hooked up back to that bolt on the bracket. It's that lower one. I mean, I'm sure you guys can kind of see where it is bolted up to. But just make sure that's hooked up and make sure that wire's not dangling. Otherwise, you know, that could be bad. So after you have all that hooked up back together, you're just gonna put the airbox piece back on. That goes from here to here, and then after that just put the coolant lines back on, put this guy back in, and now it's time to start it up and see if we did fix the problem. Okay, so I'm back in the truck. I got it fired up, and as you can see, I do have a brake pedal now, and it'll actually hold and the brakes work. So with that, our task is completed.